So the more information a cacao maker can give you about where the cacao comes from, you can even check out their website and they might give you some information on the bars and even if you're in the store and you see a new brand, you really want to know if it's fine chocolate, do they know a lot about the cacao? You can go on your phone and just quickly look at the website, see what they have to say about where they source their cacao. Now, some companies just have more information than others, even though they're equally using good cacao, bean to bar chocolate. It kind of depends on how they promote themselves. So not only do you want to look for information on where the cacao is grown, but any other information. Now, be aware that, there's many varieties of cacao. It used to be thought that there was only three: Criollo, Forastero, and the Trinitario, the hybrid. And even those names can be misused a little bit as well. And now we know that there's many more wild varieties of cacao, but even within a variety, there's sub-varieties. There's trees of a variety in a specific farm that have a very unique genetic makeup that makes the cacao they produce very unique as well. So you can't just go by that. Some makers or bean to bar enthusiasts will push forward certain varieties, and that's all well and good. I don't know about you, but I like really wonderful tomatoes, really good heirloom tomatoes that taste incredible. And I can buy some heirloom tomatoes sometimes, let's say from a stand at a farmer's market, from farmers that actually grew it themselves. They take a lot of pride in their work, and the flavor of the tomato is incredible. I can buy the exact same heirloom tomato, the same variety, in a pretty decent grocery store. Heirloom tomato, they tell you the variety, you take it home, it doesn't taste like anything. Why? It's the same variety, but they didn't grow them well to bring out that flavor. As a consumer, variety only means so much to you. It's helpful, it's nice to know that they're using Nacional or whatever other varieties they're using, but it really depends on the bean itself and how it tastes. You're not going to know that just by knowing the variety. There's some people that say only Criollo is the best, and it's if it has that, it's got to be worth the price tag. And this heirloom one is creating a bar that's $24. It must be really, really good. It might be good. It might not be $24 good. It might have a taste that's nice, but maybe we're expecting a bit more. And there could be a good reason why the cacao is so expensive. But it doesn't mean that the more expensive the bar, the better the flavor. It doesn't mean that at all. You can have really incredible fine chocolate at, $10, $11 a bar, and you can have some that are 15, 16, and they're equally delicious. So another thing that I would like to look for when I'm purchasing chocolate for the first time and never seen that brand before is not only the ingredients, information on the cacao, but also information on the maker. Is it a bean to bar chocolate maker? There can be some confusion, right? If you have this Thomas Haas bar that says bean to bar on it. And as well, chocolate makers like Nestle are a bean to bar chocolate maker. They make the chocolate from scratch. Now, the bean to bar term has been sort of redefined in a way. It's not just a literal bean to bar, making chocolate from bean to bar, but it's also other connotations it carries with it, such as high quality, fine craft. There is commercial bean to bar chocolate, and then there's fine bean to bar chocolate. But really, when we say bean to bar, we're talking more about the makers. Are the makers making it from bean to bar? So let's say, for instance, this Cantu bar. Cantu is a chocolate maker in Montreal. And they show you on the front here some pictures of the process of making chocolate, which anyone can put that on there, but they're basically hinting that they're making it from bean to bar, and they are. Let's see what they have to say on the back here. We scour Latin America seeking native cacao beans with exceptional flavors. In our workshop, we transform the beans into a pure bliss that will never fail to surpass your palate. So they're telling you that they're transforming the beans itself. And I wish more chocolate makers would put that on their bar, because it's really hard for consumers to know who's making it from the bean, who's taking the raw cacao, roasting it, grinding it themselves, right? There's chocolatiers who, give the impression that they make their own chocolate. If you went to a chocolatier shop who doesn't make their own chocolate from bean to bar and you ask whoever, the owner or even just someone behind the counter, do you make your own chocolates? They're going to say yes, because they do make their own bonbons and truffles, and they're saying that they're making it from scratch. It doesn't mean that they're making the chocolate itself from the bean to bar. You have to be more specific about that. Do you actually make the chocolate here on the premise from the cocoa beans? And that's a big difference between a bean to bar chocolate maker and a chocolatier. So you need to know the difference, because a good quality bean to bar chocolate maker has full control over the flavor. And it's not only about the cacao that they have, but the skill set that they have to bring it out. Can they select, first of all, for that good quality cacao? Can they roast it well? And the refining has a huge impact on the final flavor. People underestimate that a lot. So we need to know that these chocolate makers are making it from scratch. So Dick Taylor will also say, here, I'll show you on the screen here. So let's read here what Dick Taylor has to say. Using the finest cacao and traditional European techniques, we carefully craft all our chocolate from the bean in our small factory in Northern California. Right? Perfect. They're telling you that they're a bean to bar chocolate maker. Not everyone has that. Let's see what Kazama has to say on their bar. Our chocolate is made from scratch, directly from the bean. We source, hand sort, roast, crack, winnow, and stone grind the cacao beans for up to 72 hours before tempering and molding the chocolate into bars and truffles. Beautiful. Like, I wish every chocolate maker had that on there, because consumers don't know the difference. And if you have a premium product and you want people to pay $12, $13, $14 for your chocolate bar, they want to know that they're not being ripped off, right? And they might pass you over if you're a bean to bar chocolate maker and you don't have that information on the bar. It's very important. Now, obviously, a lot of people can trick consumers and having some of that information on there to appear like a bean to bar maker. We can't stop that. But as a bean to bar chocolate maker, you need to make it clear to your consumers. And if you're a consumer, that's something you really want to look for. So, you know, I might still buy a chocolate bar if it doesn't say much about the process of it on there. I probably still will try it, perhaps, if there's information on the cacao, if the ingredients look good. But then I'll probably look them up later and see, you know, what it is after my taste test. The last thing, so we talked about, you know, first of all, you can use the app to kind of get you started. You know, you're not going to love every brand, just like you're not going to love every bakery in your city, right? There's some that stand out more than others, even though they might all make it from scratch. But using the app is a good way to kind of get started, to see who's out there, and you can start to compare and contrast. Or buying directly from my website as well gives you a good idea of sort of what fine chocolate should taste like. So ingredients, we went over ingredients, what to look for, what you don't want to see in the ingredient list. More information on the cacao, we covered that as well. Not just where it's grown, but more information, maybe the variety, the co-op, things like that as well. Information on the chocolate maker. Are they a bean to bar chocolate maker? How do we know that? You know, all this kind of stuff helps. But at the end, it's going to come down to taste. Because even if I found a bar that checked all those things off, maybe it is a fine chocolate maker. Maybe they're even using fine cacao that another fine chocolate maker I know of uses. It's that combination of the skill set and sourcing the high quality cacao together. And not everyone can do that. So it comes down to taste, right? And what do we look for in taste? Low bitterness. People think that a high percentage dark chocolate bar is supposed to taste bitter. You know, Cacao Suyo makes an 80% bar taste like a 65% bar. Like, it's just incredible how incredible these dark chocolates can taste. And so people are accustomed to dark chocolate tasting one way. And it doesn't have to be that way. So dark chocolate shouldn't be bitter. Higher percentage might be more intense for people, but it doesn't have that grapefruit, rapini, bitter melon bitterness to it. It shouldn't have that. And if it does, very, very little. Also, we don't want it to be too sweet, right? If it's too sweet, that's not a high quality chocolate. I mean, if you're going into white chocolate, that's a bit different. It's going to have to be sweet. But dark chocolate especially, you don't want it too sweet. That's not, if you're using a high quality cacao, you put just enough sugar to bring those flavors out. You're not going to load it with sugar. And the overall flavor. So a lot of these chocolate bars, ba-bum, ba-bum, you know, all kind of taste the same. All these chocolate bars all kind of taste the same. They all have that predictable dark chocolate flavor, and that's not bad. You know, if you like some of these bars, it's not to make you feel bad and think that, you know, somehow you have bad taste in food or chocolate. I'm trying to teach you the difference between the commercial and the higher end chocolate, and it's up to you to decide what you like. So you might like that predictable cocoa flavor, but that's not how chocolate tastes. That's one way it can taste. There's many varieties of cacao. There's many flavor profiles of chocolate that a lot of people don't even know exists. And that's what you find in a lot of these chocolate bars over here. You get those range. So when you're tasting a fine chocolate, you want it to taste more than just cocoa. You want other flavors in there. It could be nutty, it could be fruity, it could be earthy, it could be toasty, it could be caramel, could be dairy, yogurt, whatever, citrus. These are the flavor notes you find in fine chocolate. And I'm not saying some of those flavors are better than others, but there's something more to it than just that typical cocoa flavor, right? And I mean, if I'm just getting that typical cocoa flavor in a $15 bar, $10 bar, I might as well just buy, you know, a run-of-the-mill fair trade chocolate bar if I'm just looking for that simple cocoa flavor. But if you want to enjoy and explore the different flavors dark chocolate can have, then expect more than just that typical cocoa flavor. Off flavors are a big thing. So, you know, you don't usually find a lot of off flavors in the commercial chocolate. You know, it might not taste good overall, but they might not have strong off flavors where some craft makers do. You know, their skill set is not quite well. There's a maker in the States that a lot of people highly regard, and I think it's terrible. It tastes like mold. All their bars have a moldy undertone to it, and it's because they don't take good care, they don't store their cacao beans well. Now, it's not unusual for, as cacao beans are being stored, to grow a little bit of things here and there, but to have all your bars always have that undertone of mold, it's not good. It's not good. So be aware of things like that. Metallic flavors you don't want in there. You know, I had chocolate once that wasn't sold, but the cacao was sold to us from a reputable maker, and we've used them before, and then the chocolate tasted like seashells and soil. It was really, really bad. You know, that way seashells smell. And it was really bad. So there's some off flavors you don't want to see. You don't want it too burnt, right? It's not like when it comes to coffee should be roasted just well to bring out the nice flavors. If you're burning it, chances are it's not a high quality coffee bean because you're trying to burn off all the bad flavors. And people say, I like that really toasty flavor, and that's fine. But if it tastes too burnt, then that's another off flavor as well. So again, different things that you can look for in fine chocolate. So knowing where to look, right? The app, ingredients, and information on the cacao, information on the chocolate maker. But then it's always going to come down to taste. And I'll talk more about that another time. So thank you for watching, paying attention. And if you have more questions for me, honestly, just fill out the form and add your questions there, and I'll be happy to cover them here. See you again next time.